All right, let's talk about one of the most exciting, heart-pounding ideas in all of chess, the gambit. We're going to dive into the secret art of strategic sacrifice, and trust me, by the end of this, you'll see just how powerful a weapon it can be. I know, it sounds completely insane, right? In a game where we're taught to protect every single piece, why on earth would you just give one away, especially in the opening? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So what is a gambit? You can think of it like an investment. You're offering up a pawn, sometimes even a bigger piece, not because you messed up, but as a calculated risk. You're trading that piece for something else, something you hope is a lot more valuable. So what exactly are you buying with that sacrificed pawn? Well, it turns out you get a whole bunch of advantages, and they are especially powerful in games between regular human players. Okay, so what are the perks? Well, for one, you get to develop your pieces way faster, which lets you create immediate attacks. You also put your opponent under a ton of psychological pressure, right? You're dragging them into a chaotic game they probably weren't ready for. And honestly, one of the best things is it teaches you to play fearless, attacking chess. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It feels amazing to launch this wild attack, but are we just playing bad moves and, hoping for the best? Well, modern chess engines can give us the cold, hard truth. Let's look at this through the eyes of a chess supercomputer. We're going to use something called a Q value, which is just the engine's score for the position. Positive number means white's better, negative means black's better. Simple as that. And here's the thing, most gambits are, technically speaking, not very good moves. Just look at these numbers. The computer sees them as a straight-up disadvantage for the person doing the sacrificing. The only real exception here is the queen's gambit, but that's because black can't really hold on to the pawn safely. For all the others, you're starting from a worse position. But this graph shows exactly why gambits work against people. A computer can defend these positions perfectly, but we can't. You can see it right here. The player who accepted the gambit is doing great until they make one tiny, natural-looking mistake. And then, bam, their whole advantage just collapses. The position flips on a dime. That's the real power of the gambit. It creates chaos. Okay, enough with the theory. Let's get to the fun part and see this play out on the board. We're going to walk through the Evans Gambit, which sets up this beautiful, devastating trap that I promise you almost everyone falls for the first time. So we start with one of the most common openings you'll ever see. We have e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, and then black plays bishop to c5. This is the Italian game. Everything's super calm, totally normal. Both sides are just developing their pieces. And then, boom, out of nowhere on move 4, white plays b4. A pawn just pushed up on the side of the board, seemingly for free. This is the Evans Gambit. It looks a little weird, but it's the first step in a brilliant attack. And, black almost always takes it. I mean, why not? It's a free pawn. So the bishop snaps up the pawn on b4, and just like that, black is officially up material. So what does white do? Plays c3. And the idea here is simple. Kick that bishop out of the way so we can get ready to take over the center of the board. Black moves the bishop back to c5. Now, this is by far the most common move, and it looks like the most natural square to go to, but this is actually the mistake that walks right into the trap. And white doesn't waste any time. With that bishop moved, the pawn storms forward to d4. All of a sudden, white is challenging black for control of the entire center, and white's pieces are just about to spring to life. Black takes the pawn on d4. Again, this feels totally normal, right? They're just trading pawns and staying a pawn ahead. What could go wrong? And this is the truly brilliant move that springs the trap. Instead of taking back the pawn on d4 like you'd expect, white just castles. Development and king's safety first. White is basically daring black to get greedy one more time. So how often does black take the bait? Well, at the amateur level, a staggering 75% of the time, players make the losing move right here. And there it is. Black sees another free pawn and just can't help it. Pawn takes c3. The trap has been sprung, it's all over, and they don't even know it yet. Now comes the punishment. White completely ignores those pawns and launches a direct assault on the king with bishop takes f7, check. It's a shocking sacrifice that just blows the whole position wide open. Black is forced to take back. There's no other legal move. And now the king is dragged out into the open, which is the worst possible place for it to be this early in the game. And the attack keeps coming. Queen to d5 check. This is such a powerful move. Not only does it hit the exposed king, but it also attacks that bishop on c5, the one black retreated to on move 5. White's about to win the piece right back. The black king has to scramble back to e8, but it's way too late. White is going to recapture that bishop, all of White's pieces are swarming in for the attack, and that black king is never going to find a safe home. It is a completely winning position for White, all for the low, low price of just one pawn. So what's the big takeaway here? Gambits create chaos. They turn the chessboard into a tactical minefield, where the player who's technically better can lose everything in just one move. They force your opponent to solve brand new problems under pressure. And that's why, sometimes, the absolute best way to win is to start by giving a piece away.